Tension in the basketball court was palpable. Jungkook stood at the center, his black hoodie pulled over his head, his sharp gaze scanning the group of all the players. The energy in the ground had dropped, and he wasn't having it. They have a basketball match after 2 weeks with students of other school, and Jungkook, being perfect at this game, was assigned as the captain of their group. He is the heartthrob of the school. Is that the best you have got? He barked, his voice cutting through the noise. If you are jogging in a game like that, we will lose before halftime. Move faster. The team scrambled to obey, sweat dripping down their faces as they picked up their pace. Everyone knew better than to slack off when Jungkook was watching. He wasn't just the star player, he was the glue holding the team together, the kind of captain who expected perfection. Choi. Jungkook called out, pointing at a tall, lanky boy who had just made a small mistake. You drop the ball again and you will be benched for next 2 games. Got it? Yes, Captain. Choi stammered, fumbling to pick up the ball and refocus on the game. Jungkook sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. If it continues like this, they wouldn't be able to make it till the end of the game. Keep it together, everyone, he yelled, earning groans from his teammates, but no one dared to argue. Jungkook crossed his arms, his dark eyes scanning their movement. Sun was high in the sky, sweat was dripping down his face too, because of the hot weather, but he stood strong and composed, leading his team with every smaller details. He was wearing a black hoodie and joggers. Gosh, he's perfect. A girl squealed, clicking a picture of him. Many girls were sitting on the stair just to have a glimpse of him. At this point, the tension was all normal for Jungkook. Initially, it used to bother him a lot. It's like a part of his daily routine. He can't go to every girl and snatch their phones away so they won't take his picture. So he accepted it as it was. He ruffled his hair away from his face, earning scream from the girls, making him smirk. All screams soon turned into murmur as Ryan entered in the court with her friends and stood beside him casually. Ryan, Oppa, you are literally tormenting the poor teenagers. Jungkook, now realizing her presence, looked at her. Jungkook, when did you come here? Ryan, when you were too focused on these poor boys. Oh, look at him, he clearly looks tired. Come on, give them a break now. She said, trying to sound disappointed in him, but Jungkook shook his head. Jungkook, go and sit over there. Ryan, oh, please. She began rolling her eyes dramatically. They are now motivated that I am here, right, boys? She raised her voice just enough to be heard, flashing a teasing grin at the team. The players froze. Not a single one dared respond because of the fear Jungkook has installed in them. Jungkook once looked around to see if girls or any boys were still recording her or taking any picture of hers, and luckily they were not. He let out a Ryan, not my fault. You have traumatized them. She kept shrugging her shoulders. Jungkook, tell me clearly what problem did you create this time? I'm telling you, kitten, if you have again messed with that maths teacher, I'm not coming to save you from him. Ryan laughed, looking at the dramatic expressions, making him chuckle. Jungkook, come on, he's so annoying. Ryan, I didn't create any problem till now. Jungkook, so are you about to create one? He asked, studying her mischievous grin. Ryan looked up at him, her expressions growing more teasing now as she leaned towards him. Ryan, I just saw Minji coming back from her football practice. Jungkook, oh, really? Wait, how do you? He looked around as if he was scared someone might hear them. Jungkook, what I have to do with her? Ryan, she is your crush. Jungkook quickly placed his hand over her mouth, playfully glaring at her, making her smirk under his hand. You are always so loud, kitten. Ryan, so go and talk to her. Jungkook, but how do you know? Ryan, because her contact name popped up as Minji. Smooth cook, really smooth. His ears turned red almost instantly. Minji is the popular girl of their school. She is beautiful, everyone's crush. Ryan, no. She said, laughing as she swept away his hand. You just left it unlocked, genius. Jungkook, Ryan. He warned her. Ryan, what? She said innocently, still grinning. Jungkook sighed, looking around at the boys and then at her. Jungkook, you are really up to something. Ryan laughed as he turned to the boys. Take a break for 10 minutes, I will be back. He glanced at Ryan once as she urged him to go and he left. With that, she scurried away along with her friends, leaving the boys in confusion and shock. Love, Captain Jeon. They all looked at each other to confirm if they heard it right. Gang, no, no, Captain Jeon isn't that kind of person. He said, though his voice laced with an unspoken confusion. Gang, he isn't, right? He looked at other boys, but they shrugged their shoulders, indicating they don't know anything about it either. As she came in the hallway with her friend, she saw Jungkook and Minji coming out of a classroom. Minji had changed into school's uniform again, but Jungkook was still in the practice clothes since he have more sessions further. Ryan, look who we have, she said, her tone teasing as she approached them along with her friends. Are you guys together now? Jungkook, oh princess, I think you shouldn't talk when elders are talking. Ryan grinned, pulling herself away, locking her gaze with Minji. Jungkook, oh, you might already know her. Minji, of course, everyone knows her. She is always so loud and energetic. Ryan, nice to meet you. Ryan extended her hand excitedly that Minji accepted. Minji, nice to meet you too, Ryan. She replied, pulling her hand back abruptly and locking her arm with Jungkook. Ryan, my brother loves you so much. I hope you won't betray him or break his heart. Minji internally rolled her eyes before giving a brief smile to Ryan. Minji, don't worry, we will manage our relationship. Ryan smiled in amusement. Minji, Jungkook, shall we go to the cafeteria? I am hungry. After all the practice sessions, she whined, cutting off Ryan. Her jaw clenched, but she didn't say anything. Jungkook, oh, of course, let's go. Ryan, don't you have any classes? Ryan, yes, I do. Jungkook, that face won't work. Go and attend the class, or I will have to teach you. Oh, attending classes are much better than getting tutored from Jungkook. At least teachers aren't that scary and strict as Jungkook is when it comes to study. Jungkook slid his hand around Minji's waist, leading her towards the cafeteria. Ryan looked at their disappearing figure along with her friends. Millie, did she just cut you off? She asked, leaning in towards Ryan. Daisy, I can't believe Jungkook got into a relationship. It had to be the viral news of the school, she said, scrolling through her phone along with other girls. But Ryan just rolled her eyes. Ryan, come on. It's not a big deal. You guys make big news out of nothing. The cafeteria was empty as Jungkook and Minji entered and got their food. Actually, Wai and her friends and a few of my friends had planned an outing. I am also joining, so if you want to come tonight. Minji, oh, she hesitated for a split of second. Jungkook, perfect. I will pick you up from your house. Send me the address. Minji, great. They've talked for some time before they parted their ways. Minji was coming back to her classroom when she saw Wayan with her friends going for their class. She felt a surge of jealousy through her veins. She had always admired Jungkook for his dominant aura and personality, but she don't like the way he is caring for Wayan. Another thing she hated about Wayan is how much Wayan is always so energetic. She gets all the attention from boys, and it makes her even more envious of her. A tap on her shoulder brought her back to the reality as she turned around and found her friend. Minji, just for a few days. Jack's more good. She shrugged her shoulder. Alana, well, Jungkook have the popularity, so you better stick to him. Minji, we will see. At night, Ricky, alright, my turn. Ricky, Jungkook's friend, announced, recovering from the group's teasing. He turned to Ryan with a mischievous glint in his eyes. Ryan, truth or dare? Ryan, truth. She replied without hesitation, crossing her arms. Ricky, oh, boring. He groaned, earning laughter from the table. Fine, let me think. He tapped his chin dramatically before grinning. Alright, who's someone you secretly admired at school? Ryan rolled her eyes, laughing softly. Ricky, answer the question, Princess John. Ricky said, pointing a finger at her. The table leaned in, everyone's curiosity piqued. Even Jungkook raised an eyebrow, waiting for her reply. Ryan, okay, okay, she said, raising her hands. Jungkook, what? He raised his eyebrow. Ryan, I mean, Oppa, just one or two times, she said nervously. Jungkook, looks like I need to meet the guy. While the group laughed and joked, Minji's expression darkened. She crossed her arms, letting out. Minji, must be nice, she said, her voice cutting through the chatter. Ryan, what's nice? Ryan asked, her brow raising slightly. Minji shrugged, her tone dripping with sarcasm. Minji, having to be the center of attention all the time. The table went quiet, the energy suddenly shifting. Ryan, I mean, it's just a game. Ryan started, but Minji cut her off. Minji, it's not just a game, she said sharply. It's you, always laughing the loudest, always showing off. The table quieted slightly as Ryan looked at her. Ryan, what's that supposed to mean? Minji shrugged, her voice laced with irritation. Minji, I just mean you always have to be the one everyone's looking at. The atmosphere shifted instantly, tension hanging in the air as the group exchanged nervous glances. Ryan raised an eyebrow, sitting up straighter. Okay, first of all, it's just a game. Second, if you wanted attention so bad, maybe you could have joined it instead of sulking in the corner. Jungkook turned to Minji, his expression unreadable, but his voice cold. Minji, Ryan always have been like this, and we find nothing wrong about it. She's just being herself instead of faking her personality. Minji, I know Jungkook, but she said, gripping his arm. She acts like an attention seeker. What did you say? He asked, his voice carrying a silent warning. Minji, I mean Jungkook, Minji, that's my sister we are talking about. You can't disrespect her like that. Minji, come on, Jungkook, not everything can be about your sister. Jungkook, I never said that. If it was Ryan's fault here, I would have corrected her long ago, without anyone else saying anything about her. But she is being herself. It's her true nature, and you can't call her attention seeker only if she is energetic and enjoying herself. Jungkook, you owe her an apology. Her eyes widened as she looked at him and then at others, shaking her head. Minji, Jungkook, it's not that of a big deal. Jungkook, Minji, apologize right now. You can't talk to her like that. Minji, I'm sorry, Ryan, I didn't mean it like that. She stammered, her voice faltering. Ryan, I didn't quite hear it. Can you please speak louder? Ryan said dramatically, making her jaw clenched. Minji, I'm sorry, Ryan. Before anyone could say anything, a voice interrupted. Minji? The group turned to see a tall guy standing near the table, his brows furrowed. What's going on? Who is this guy? He asked, his gaze landing on Jungkook. Minji's face turned crimson. Jungkook, I'm her boyfriend, Jungkook said coldly, crossing his arms. The guy's expression shifted into anger. Jack, oh really? Because she told me I was her boyfriend last week. The group collectively gasped, Ryan muttering. Jungkook, Minji? Jungkook said, his voice dangerously low. Are you cheating on me? And for how long has this been going on? Minji, it's not what it looks like. Minji cried, tears welling up in her eyes. The other guy scoffed. Jungkook's jaw tightened as he stood. We are done, he said firmly. Don't ever talk to me or my sister again. Minji, Jungkook, wait. Minji started, but Ryan stood up, cutting her off. Ryan, you heard him. And honestly, you should be glad he's the one ending it because I was about 2 seconds away from dragging you out of by your cheap extensions. Minji glared at her. Minji, stay out of this, Ryan. This has nothing to do with you. Jungkook, Ryan, Jungkook called, pulling her back by the waist as Minji shrieked and clawed at her. Ryan, she deserves it. Ryan yelled, her legs kicking as Jungkook held her. That's enough, princess. Jungkook said, setting her down but keeping a firm grip on her shoulder. Minji stumbled back, fixing her hair and glaring. You are both insane. Ryan, and you are a cheater. Ryan said, smirking. Minji stormed off as the group burst into laughter. Jungkook sighed, looking at Ryan. The laughter at the table slowly died down as Minji's figure disappeared into the crowd. The group exchanged awkward glances, unsure how to react to what had just happened. Well, Ryan started, standing up and grabbing her bag, her voice light but firm. Ricky and the others nodded quickly, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. Ricky, yeah, sounds good. He said, rubbing the back of his neck. One by one, the group said their goodbyes and filtered out of the club, leaving just Wyan and Jungkook at the now empty table. Jungkook sat back in his chair, his arms crossed and his gaze fixed on some distant point. His usual confident demeanor seemed intact, but Wyan could see the tension in his jaw and the way his fingers drummed against the table. Wyan, Oppa. Wyan said softly, sliding into the seat beside him. She rested her elbow on the table and leaned her chin in her hand, studying his expression. You okay? Jungkook, I'm fine. Wyan, Oppa, you know I can tell when you are lying, right? He let out a soft sigh, shaking his head. Jungkook, it's nothing, Wyan, really. Wyan, you don't have to do that. Wyan said, her tone gentler now. You don't have to pretend with me. Jungkook stayed quiet for a moment, his fingers still drumming against the table. Finally, he let out a slow chuckle, though there was no humor in it. Guess I should have seen it coming. Wyan frowned. Jungkook, I was excited, about her, about us. I thought he trailed off, his voice growing quieter. I thought she could be someone I trusted. Wyan's heart ached for her brother, even though he didn't show it openly. Wyan, it's okay to feel disappointed, Oppa. She said softly, you liked her, that's not a bad thing. He looked at her, his expression unreadable before letting out a quiet sigh. Jungkook, I don't know what I was thinking, maybe I was just stupid. Wyan, first of all, you are not stupid, Wyan said, shaking her head firmly. She is the stupid one for not realizing what she had. You are the best thing anyone could ask for. And I am not saying that because you are my brother. Then, as if he couldn't help himself, he reached over and ruffled her hair roughly, making her squeal. Hey, she cried, batting his hand away as she tried to fix the mess he had made. Jungkook chuckled, his voice lighter now. Wyan, I'm not a kid, Wyan said with a pout. Jungkook smirked, leaning his chin on his hand as he looked at her fondly. Jungkook, you are, to me. You are really so inserious. Wyan muttered, crossing her arms but failing to hide her smile. She straightened her voice gentler. Wyan, you deserve someone better, Opa. Someone who sees you the way you are and doesn't play games. Jungkook, thank you, princess, he said quietly, his voice softer than before. Wyan, anytime. She replied, standing up and offering him her hand. Come on, let's go home. I will even make you some ramen, your favorite. Jungkook raised an eyebrow, taking her hand as he stood. Since when do you cook? Wyan, since tonight, she said, smirking. It will be my first time. Wish me luck. Jungkook chuckled, shaking his head as they headed out together. For the first time that night, he felt the weight lifting, thanks to the one person who always had his back.